day 2 of the van build. I've got my wire brush. I'm going to do the rusty bits on the floor and then put the bolts back in where the seats came from and get all the Hammerite straight to rust paint on there. And then I've got the D-rings which are secured to the floor. There's quite a few of those to take out, and I hopefully will be able to put the bolt back into the hole, because then that saves with any major filling work. So I've got my lights up and gonna get started. Using my excellent investigation skills, I think looking at those rusty bits on the floor, because when you see people cutting holes in their ceilings and things like that, they always talk about the little, I don't know what you call them, the filings that come off, and if you don't clean them all off properly you can get little rust spots. And I think because when they've put the seats in the back of this van, they drilled straight through the plywood floor, and the plywood floor didn't have anything under it, so the little filings have spread out around the holes that they drilled, and that's why they've started the little rusty bits, I guess. Well, that's my take on it anyway. Had lunch and now it's time to start putting some bolts in the floor. So we've got the socket set out, and we can start trying to find the right spanner and the right socket to put the bolts back. I've painted all the holes up, and when the bolts are in, I'll paint the bolts as well. Oh look, you can see Dad there through the window, he's just come in. I'm making some headway. I have, with the help of my dad, put the bolts back into the floor. I have painted all the holes before the bolts went in with the rust, I can't remember what it's called. It's Hammerite straight to rust paint. So there's very little rust anyway, but I thought just to be safe I will make sure I will paint all the bolts, all the holes beforehand, to make sure all the little edges of metal are all painted, and also that I've painted all around the bolts and over the bolts now the bolts are in. And there was one hole that was a little bit too big because it was like a double hole where they'd obviously made a mess whilst doing the drilling. So that one has got like a rubber bung in it, and I've glued it in with sticks like shit. So that will be okay tomorrow. There was all these, I don't know if you can see any there, but there was D-rings all on the floor, like here and here. They were all bolted down D-rings, so I've taken all of those out and I've put the screw bolty things back into the holes. Luckily my dad had in his socket set, he had a star-shaped end socket, I don't know what it's called, thing, a star-shaped thing which fits into those bolts, screwy bolty things. So I've managed to do those. I've gone over as well and I've painted, you might not be able to see because it's white on white, but I've painted over all the little bits of paintwork where the paint had sort of been scratched off or worn away by the previous owner. So that's all good. So I'm kind of working around patches of wet paint everywhere. Oh, and the holes where the previous floor was screwed down, I have first of all painted them, and when the paint had dried I've now put silicone sealer into those holes. And my intention is tomorrow, when the paint has dried, I want to go and put little squares of the aluminium tape that you use on the vapour barrier, just to cover those holes up, to make sure, you know, doubly sure that they're covered and that there's no moisture going to come through. So next what I can do, I've cleaned all my walls down and I've gone over them with dry tissue paper to make sure there's no dust or debris. I know other people use some kind of, I think acetone cleaner or something. Mevy used something on his van, but I can't remember what it was. But my van's really clean anyway, because it was only really used for passengers and also to carry dogs around to dog shows. So it's not been a dirty van previously. So I'm not too worried. But I've got 2 packs of silent coat and I want to make that last because that's like 150 quid's worth. And I've got a knife! So I'm going to open this up. My unboxing video. How exciting. Oh, let's put a picture on the box. And some paperwork. Improving speaker performance, road noise and heat reduction, sound deadening for doors. Anything about vans? Vans and camper insulation. It's just instructions and stuff. I've got to get that on the walls. So let's have a little look. So it's really heavy. I had it delivered to the spa shop because I ordered it when I was in Brighton so that it would be delivered up here, but I didn't want my dad to have to wait in for it, so I had it delivered to a collection point place, and the little old lady trying to lift this onto the counter was, I want to go around the counter and do it for her. So let's have a look. Obviously being very careful not to slice it up. So here is, oh, that's 2 sheets. It's self-adhesive, there we go, and you essentially pull it off and stick it onto your panels to stop the noise. I'm definitely going to do the top half. I'm definitely doing the ceiling, but I want to stretch it as much as I can because it was bloody expensive and I don't really want to spend any more. And I'm not massively fussed about the road noise in comparison. I want it to deal with noise when I'm sleeping in the van. Let's crack on. I've started my silent coat, which is this stuff that I showed you before. It's like a black sort of rubber kind of stuff, sticky back and like a foily front, and it deadens the sound, hence it being called sound deadening. So this makes me chuckle because you hear this is the original, so no sound deadening at all. Now this is the side where I have applied the silent coat sound deadening. Listen. Hopefully that's going to make a real big difference when it's raining. Unlike now, it has rained pretty much all day. And I've got my little gazebo, but it's full of water. Full of water. Better in there than in the van. Oh yeah, now I don't need to record anymore. The traffic stopped.